Welcome to The Explainer. Today is absolutely critical. It's July 22nd, 2026, and right now, literally as we speak, an incredibly urgent real-world situation is unfolding across British Columbia. Okay, let's dive into this. Today, we're breaking down the intricate anatomy of the Amber Alert system, and we're framing it entirely around the active, desperate search going on right now for 4-year-old Atlas Andrews. To really understand how to help in this search, we have to unpack how the system actually works. So, our agenda is to cover the search for Atlas, what is an Amber Alert, the 5 strict criteria, behind-the-scenes activation, canceling an alert, and finally, how the public helps.
Section 1. The search for Atlas. Active Amber Alert.
Look closely at this. Have you seen this vehicle? We are actively looking for a black 2021 Nissan Qashqai, bearing the BC plate RV003L. This is the specific vehicle police believe is associated with the suspect in this abduction, Atlas Andrews. If you are anywhere in the province today, please burn that vehicle description and license plate into your memory.
Let's urgently run through the exact physical descriptors straight from the RCMP release. The victim is little Atlas Andrews. He's 4 years old, 3 feet tall, weighs 51 pounds, with short brown hair and hazel eyes. The suspect is his mother, 40-year-old Atlas Andrews. She's 5'4", 121 pounds, dark brown hair, brown eyes. They were last seen on Ridge Boulevard out in West Kelowna. Now, if you do spot this pair, or that black Nissan, I have to be crystal clear here. Do not approach them. You need to call 911 immediately.
Moving to Section 2. What is an Amber Alert? System Overview.
Let's move to the history and see how this builds, because this system comes from a deeply emotional place. It actually started back in 1996 in Arlington, Texas, after the tragic kidnapping and murder of 9-year-old Amber Hagerman. Her community came together, heartbroken but determined to create America's Missing Broadcast Emergency Response to stop this from happening again. This amazing partnership officially came to BC on May 25, 2004. And well, that brings us to today, July 22, 2026, and its critical use in the search for Atlas.
So, what makes it so effective? It's a huge, multi-pronged broadcast approach. Once it's activated, it instantly takes over highway message boards through the Ministry of Transportation, it breaks right into radio and TV programming, and it blasts wireless text messages straight to our LTE and 4G phones. It's an unbelievable early warning deterrent. The whole idea is that thousands of eyes are suddenly watching, which hopefully coerces a kidnapper into just releasing the child because they know they're going to get caught.
Section 3. The 5 strict criteria, a high threshold.
To put this into perspective, just last weekend, Atlas was actually the subject of a standard missing persons report out of Langley, but it didn't trigger an Amber Alert then. Why? Because standard missing persons cases, as serious as they are, don't automatically cross the incredibly specific, high-level threshold you need to blast an alarm to literally millions of cell phones.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is these 5 absolute minimum requirements. They all have to be met. 1. The victim has to be under 18. 2. Police need reasonable grounds an abduction actually occurred. 3. Reasonable grounds the child is in imminent danger. 4. They need enough descriptive information about the victim, abductor, or vehicle to give us something to actually look for. And 5, there has to be a reasonable expectation that issuing the alert right this second will help. If even one of these, just one, is missing, no alert.
Section 4. Behind-the-scenes activation, police protocol. So who actually gets to push the button? Look at this excerpt from the Transit Police OB 400 Policy Manual. It perfectly illustrates that this isn't just a casual, spur-of-the-moment decision. It involves highly rigorous, documented steps that police are legally bound to follow.
The activation is super rapid, but it's a very structured chain of command. An investigator on the ground realizes, hey, the criteria might be met here, but they can't act alone. They have to notify a watch commander who assesses it, talks to local jurisdictions, and then kicks it up to the RCMP Lower Mainland District Regional Duty Officer for the final green light. Only then is the web app triggered to blast the e-com broadcast out to partner agencies.
I really want to emphasize this quote directly from the manual. It says, an Amber Alert may only be recommended by the watch commander, and only when all activation criteria have been met. This just totally reinforces the point. A single investigator can't trigger this by themselves. You need that executive oversight to make absolutely sure this massive broadcast power isn't misused.
Section 5. Canceling an alert. 2 different realities.
You know, there's a common misconception out there that when an alert gets canceled, it always means a happy ending. Obviously, the ultimate goal is the safe recovery of the child. But alerts can actually be canceled for purely logistical reasons. If those strict criteria aren't met in a specific region anymore, meaning people there just can't realistically act on the info, the alert gets dropped in that zone, even if the child is still missing somewhere else.
We've actually got a very recent active case study for this. 6-year-old Lanakai Morrison was abducted on July 9th out of Valhalla Center, Alberta. The suspects were in a 2006 red Ford F-350, plate CXW 8820. Well, the RCMP canceled the Amber Alert in Alberta, but the boy hadn't been found. Why? Because the suspects were spotted crossing into BC. So the alert was canceled in Alberta simply because the public there couldn't help anymore. It's a perfect example of the strict geographical logic behind this whole system.
Section 6. How the public helps. The thousands of eyes.
And this brilliantly illustrates the crux of it all. This entire multi-million-dollar infrastructure relies completely on you. As the RCMP documentation puts it, the determination of police investigators alone is not enough. Help from the community is essential.
So, if you do spot that black Nissan Qashqai or the suspects we talked about, here is exactly what you need to do. First, do not try to apprehend the suspect yourself. Absolutely do not try to stop the vehicle. Call 911 right away and give them your exact location. Also, please do not forward those emergency text messages without double-checking the current status through local media or the BC RCMP website. We definitely want to be spreading outdated information.
So the crucial point is this. The infrastructure did its job. The watch commander approved it. The text hit your phone. Now the rest is up to us. Will you be the thousands of eyes watching the highways, the parking lots, and the screens today to help bring 4-year-old Atlas Andrews home safely? Keep your eyes open out there.